Here, right now, right in front of you, I am going to brainstorm an idea to make an indie movie that makes money. I've already got the idea, I just need to figure out how to market it, because that's where most indie movies have their problem. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna create a viral phrase. We're gonna create a phrase that's not a trailer, it's not some marketing. All we're gonna do is just create a phrase. And this phrase is gonna be something like, are you smart enough to watch this movie? Or are you brave enough to watch this movie if it's a horror movie? And then what we're gonna do, we're gonna print out a QR code with that catchphrase, and we're gonna put it at the gym, we're gonna put it at college campuses, we're gonna get a bunch of people to put it at every smart college campus. It's gonna go a little bit viral. We're gonna get people dressed up in like boxes, like a literal box around them. We're gonna put a QR code on the front, and it's just naturally gonna go viral. I mean, if you're walking around Times Square, boom, you got someone just scanning it, and it's going to go viral in some way, shape, or form. Maybe the movie itself won't, but the marketing will. And in the movie, we're gonna put it on Film Hub. That is totally possible. I researched it, and I do know Film Hub works. I have a film on there right now, and that's the idea. It's guaranteed to go viral. Now that's an idea that I just came up with off the top of my head. But the problem is, and the problem you understand with it, is that that's just an idea. That's not real life. Anyone can come up with a great idea. They can come up with a really, really good gangbuster idea, and yet it's just an idea. You see, ideas are really great, but the problem is they don't exist in the real world. But for some reason, we're really good at coming up with ideas. You, me, we're great at coming up with ideas. If you're creative, you love coming up with ideas. If you're not creative, you still come up with good ideas. Whether you have to do it for work or whether you do it at your hobbies, ideas are just easy. It's fun to brainstorm, to strategize, to plan, whatever you want to call it. It's pretty fun. And because it's fun and because it's easy to come up with ideas, and sometimes it's not easy to come up with ideas, sometimes it's hard and gives a little bit of a challenge, but ideas, whatever you want to call it, brainstorming, strategizing, planning, we're addicted to it. As a society, as a Western United States, as people on the internet, as people in creative jobs, for me personally, I feel like we're addicted to brainstorming. Tools like ChatGPT were just accelerators. They didn't start it, but they certainly accelerated it. Because think about it. Used to, you just had your notebook or your idea book or your big board or your wall or your marker board, and you could just list out ideas. And as you list out ideas, there's a thrill to it. And now, all of a sudden, you don't need a group of people. You don't need a quiet room. Now what you need is just a computer or your phone, and you can just talk to it or you can type it out. And all of a sudden, you have something that is calculating words and is creating all sorts of cool connections between words that is mashed together and creating literally some sort of creativity. And it's some good ideas. If you need an interesting idea or you want to modify an idea or create where an idea could go or get questions or an iteration of an idea, ChatGPT will do a really good job, or Gemini or any of the other tools, because it's good at what it does. It develops the ideas. And the best part, it never gets tired. You don't have to call up a buddy and hope they're in a good mood. You just start typing into this machine and the words will calculate back out and come up with some interesting iteration. The only way it's going to get tired is if you stop using it. It will literally brainstorm forever. You could sit there and you could brainstorm how to make $1 million. You could brainstorm how to make a killer movie or how to make a killer YouTube channel. I've used it for those things. I've used ChatGPT to just brainstorm, what would it look like to take the YouTube channel this direction? What are some ideas? What are some other channels that do a good job of that? I've used it to come up with a marketing strategy for a movie. It wasn't the box idea I talked about, but it was, I think, a pretty good marketing strategy, and I'm curious if I'll use elements of it in the future. And the thing is, it's pretty good at its job. It can brainstorm pretty well, but it's not the root of the problem. It just accelerates it. So take out all the ramifications, take out the dumbing down of ChatGPT on human society, take out the hallucinations when it goes crazy, take out the isolation of being creative by yourself, and you get a pretty good tool. Let's be honest, it's a good tool. Take out ChatGPT overall, and it's just fun to brainstorm. As a writer, I love to think of a really great idea, to come out of a movie theater and just click and think, wow, I got it. Or to be walking in a park and click, I got this cool idea. Or to want to write a book and all of a sudden you have this idea and the idea is just great. Or maybe you've got a business idea and all of a sudden you've got the idea and it's amazing and you have an incredible idea. It's fun to brainstorm it. It's fun to be in the stage where nothing has happened yet. And yet, as a society, as people, as me, myself, we're addicted to it. We're addicted to this idea stage. We're addicted to dreaming and coming up with cool ideas. And I think it comes down to something really simple. An idea exists in your head. And in your head is not the real world. In the real world, you can have a bunch of problems, but in your head, it can be perfect. Perfection can exist in your head. You can view this finished movie idea or this finished book or this finished business idea or finished marketing play, and all of a sudden, it's perfect. In your head, it can be perfect. In ChatGPT, it can be perfect. AI is created to remove friction. And all of a sudden, you can have a perfect idea. But as soon as it enters the real world, as soon as you start working on it, it enters a cursed world. Because according to the Bible, the world is cursed, and it's not operating like it was meant to. Obviously there's beauty and there's perfection and there's elements of what used to be perfection, but it's a cursed world. Work is no longer perfect. And yet we still chase this idea that there's the perfect idea, that we just need to create a bunch of ideas and we're gonna get the one that works, or we're gonna have the idea, the breakthrough idea. And yet we have this temptation to just stay in the idea stage. And even when we have a great idea and it works, we have a temptation to just savor in that. There's a really great article in The Atlantic back a couple years ago by Derek Thompson. And he calls it the Eureka theory of American history is wrong. I'm going to read an excerpt from it. I'm going to skip around a little bit, but you can look it up. It's available online. And he talks about, in essence, the reason the Eureka theory is great, it's awesome, but we study the moment an invention happened. We don't study the implementation of it. He says, talking about the very first vaccine, he says, consider the actual scale of Edward Jenner's accomplishment the day he pricked James Phipps in 1796. Exactly one person had been vaccinated in a world of roughly 1 billion people, leaving 99.99999% of the human population unvaccinated. When a good idea is born, or when the first prototype of invention is created, we should celebrate its potential to change the world. But progress is as much about implementation as it is about invention. The way individuals and institutions take an idea from 1 to 1 billion is the story of how the world really changes. And it doesn't always change, even after a truly brilliant discovery. Why can we have an incredible vaccine? Why can we have an incredible moment, and yet the implementation of it is not actually working? It hasn't happened. You can create the best solar panel in the world, but it doesn't mean everyone's going to use it. You can have the best idea in the world, in our case, you can come with the best story in the world, but you actually have to do something about it. Why is this? Why are we addicted to brainstorming? Is it because in our real world jobs we have to execute all day long? The other side of brainstorming, we have to do the work after brainstorming all day long, so that when we get to our hobbies, when we get to our house and we get to do whatever we want, we just want to brainstorm because we've used up all of our execution ability? Well, I think it's a little bit of a pendulum. One isn't better than the other necessarily. Brainstorming is not better than the execution, the actual work. The actual work is not better than just brainstorming. I think it's a lot like eating. Praise God, there are chefs who think about incredible ways to dream up food, who create incredible recipes, incredible meals planned out. And I just think of all the people who are in factories who create some incredible food that you can just go and eat. You can throw it in a microwave and eat it, and it's awesome. Someone has planned out the food, and it's amazing. Praise God. But you can't just plan food all the time. Eventually, you got to eat it. And you can't just eat all the time. Sometime you got to plan it. It's kind of boring when you come home and you realize you didn't go to the grocery store and you haven't shopped and you haven't meal prepped and you just don't have anything good to eat. You just eat some crackers and peanut butter. You have to have both. You can't just eat and you can't just dream about eating and create the perfect meal plan. Eventually you have to do something with it. One accelerator of this trend, it could have come from anywhere. It could be our current world. It could have been something that's existed for 2,000 years, who knows? But I think one accelerator of this trend is our education system. I have another video about what I think our education system is being saved by ChatGPT. You can check that out in the description. But I really think that one accelerator of this whole thing of brainstorming is actually classes and the way we teach in modern teaching. This is just from my experience going to college where we had a screenplay class. And in that screenplay class, of course, we were learning how to write a screenplay. And part of the class was the literal logistics and the formatting and kind of general overview and structure, which I think is necessary if you've never taken that. But at some point, you would explain it, and then the students would come back the next week. We'd all come back, we'd throw our pages on the screen and give feedback and critique and generate some great ideas. And then we'd come back the next week, and the script was pretty much the same. I feel like our education system is all about learning, and then we say, go do all the work, go do the actual work outside of class. But we aren't teaching people how to actually work. I've always wondered if it would have been a lot more effective to just have that class and have 30 minutes of it be teaching and have the other 30 minutes of it be, hey, sit down and just write. I'm gonna give you time to write, says the professor. I'm just gonna sit and watch as you write. I'm gonna write along with you. We're gonna write, like actually do the work. We're not just gonna brainstorm and come up with ideas and think of how to fix someone else's screenplay. We're just gonna sit down and we're gonna write. Now you can just write all day and not actually get better. Yeah, you got to have some sort of teaching, but at some point you got to write. And I think the way we teach, the way in that class, the way in hundreds of other classes I've been a part of or got to see or got to experience, is that we do a lot of teaching, but we don't actually do the doing. We come up with brainstorming and talk about great ideas, and we really talk about great ideas without talking about the hard work of execution. Even now, I've got classmates I graduated with, and they are still addicted to brainstorming. They're creative people, they want to make great movies, and they have some incredible ideas, but they don't want their ideas to enter the real world, because as soon as they enter the real world, they'll realize that they're flawed, and they've got a lot of work to do in order to get them even somewhat desirable or watchable or readable. And that business idea, or that YouTube channel, or that incredible recipe, or that incredible family that you have this idea for, you got to go through the real work of creating it. And the real world is where problems come in, where flaws happen, and it's scary. I'm gonna go back to that box story, because I was inside that box. It wasn't just a brainstorm idea. It was an idea that I actually did. And I was inside a cardboard box, walking around on the beach, trying to get people to scan this QR code with the phrase, "Are you smart enough to watch this movie?" And it was a failure. It's scary to go out and try things. It's scary to go out and do something that you don't know if it's gonna work. It's scary to go test that incredible idea that ChatGPT gave you. Because the moment you enter the real world, the moment problems happen. ChatGPT said it'd be easy to get 100 followers doing this. Now you realize you've only got 2 followers, and ChatGPT can't really help you figure out why. It's the real world. Real stuff happens. AI can remove the friction in your brain and remove all of the barriers to making it happen. But once you actually start making it happen, the real world, AI can't remove those barriers. And it's not even desirable to, because you soon realize that walking around in a box on the beach is great, but you kind of need some other people to help out. You probably should have gone to New York. You probably should have a whole marketing team. And you learn, maybe that phrase isn't as great as I thought it was. It's not actually getting people to stop. What if I changed it to this phrase? Or what if I did this? Or what if I changed that? And it's called iteration. And you can't iterate, you can't change, you can't learn from failure without actually getting a little bit of failure in. So as much as it stinks to go out and fail, and I can think of a bunch of ways I could have done it better, and I could still go do it better, but in some ways I'm still addicted to brainstorming, and I'm more addicted to coming up with more ideas versus going out and making the ideas I've already had happen. As much as that may hurt, as much as it may be scary, the real world is changed by people who go out and implement great ideas. And so my goal this year is to continue to implement great ideas. Not just come up with new ones. Yeah, there's got to be some new ideas that we come up with, otherwise the world would get pretty boring. But it's not just to stay stuck there, not to just stay stuck in the ChatGPT feedback stage and perfecting the idea. At some point, you can only perfect an idea so much. You got to go out and you got to go test it. And so my encouragement to you and my encouragement to myself, I'm going to go try and do this year, is to go test some ideas. It's okay to fail.